In a world destroyed by monsters and darkness, one brave family fights to survive. When hope fades and humanity falls, a young girl must find her strength to carry the flame of her parents and fight for the future of mankind. For years, climate change, poverty, war, and oppression had slowly destroyed the world. But what finally brought humanity to its knees was a mysterious global attack that wiped out every major power grid. Darkness covered the planet, and people began dying in massive numbers. Scientists called this event the Break. At first, men went to war, fighting courageously against an unknown enemy. But when they fell, the women rose, picking up their swords to continue the battle. In the middle of the night, Mary, a brave soldier, led her team into combat. As flares lit the sky, monstrous creatures known as breakers charged from the shadows. The soldiers screamed their battle cry and fought for their lives against impossible odds. 15 years later, Mary's husband, John, teaches their daughter Willa about the Break. He explains that the breakers had always existed on Earth, hidden behind a barrier called the Stitch. But when humanity destroyed the forests and melted the ice caps, the Stitch tore open, releasing the monsters. Willa, bored by the lesson, interrupts until John tells her about Kodiak, a warrior who killed 100 breakers with a single swing of his axe. Mary also tells her stories about flowers, animals, and beauty Willa has never seen. Their lesson ends abruptly when soldiers arrive to evacuate the city. Despite the danger, John and Mary try to make Willa's birthday special. She gets a small cake, a knitted hat from her mother, and a plush dog from a kind neighbor. But before they can celebrate, a soldier pounds on the door. It's time to leave. John struggles to pack because of his old war injuries, and Mary helps him. They both know something's wrong. Closing one stitch only seems to open another somewhere else. They share a final kiss as Willa watches in tears. When the power goes out, she runs to hug them, trembling in fear. Moments later, Mary rejoins her squad while John and Willa are escorted with the civilians. On the road, soldiers warned that infection from breakers turns people into hybrids, mutated half-human creatures. To distract herself, Willa brings up the legend of Kodiak. Everyone has their own version. Some say he killed 300 breakers. Others say he had a pet bear. A woman named Janice smiles and says, "What matters isn't how the story goes, but what it means." Gunfire suddenly erupts. Screams fill the night. The soldiers outside are slaughtered. A claw tears through the truck, killing a woman instantly. John grabs Willa and escapes as breakers close in. They hide under a truck with another mother and child. A breaker reaches under, grabbing the kid, and the mother runs out screaming. Just as Willa is about to be discovered, a soldier opens fire, slicing the creature's head clean off. When she steps closer, Willa realizes it's Mary. Mary quickly gathers the survivors and leads them to the forest. Along the way, they see wounded soldiers and dying civilians. When one old man begins to transform, a soldier stays with him until it's over. In the forest, John notices blood on Mary's face, but she assures him it's not hers. Moments later, more monsters roar nearby. Mary tells John she has to stay and fight. Willa cries, begging her not to go, but John drags her away as explosions echo behind them. By morning, John and Willa reach the shore. He shows her a small boat he and Mary once used for fishing. Willa suggests rescuing others, but John refuses. The boat is too small. A man named Kevin appears, desperate for help. When John lies and says the boat isn't his, Kevin pulls a gun. John calmly tricks him, pretending to fetch fuel, but instead kills him off-screen. That night, John returns, claiming Kevin ran away. He and Willa sail into the sea, leaving the chaos behind. They reach a small island and survive there for a year. Willa grows into a determined young fighter. She trains every day on a wooden obstacle course John built, repeating her lessons aloud. Breakers die by decapitation, hybrids by smashing their brain. She struggles, slips, but never gives up. John praises her progress, and they continue to train together. One day, John finds wild strawberries. Overjoyed, He gives them to Willa, who has never seen the fruit before. She tastes one and smiles. John tells her that he and Mary had strawberries and cream on their wedding cake, a memory that brings warmth to their cold lives. One morning, while refilling her bottles at a waterfall, Willa sees a girl on the beach, Rosie. She rushes forward just in time to stop her from stepping on a mine. Shaken but grateful, Rosie hugs her. Willa takes her to a hidden cave where she keeps her supplies. Rosie explains that her family's boat was attacked by breakers, and she's the only survivor. Willa shares food and water, and they talk. Later that night, Willa dreams of her mother appearing in the woods, telling her to leave John and join the fight, until Mary's eyes begin to bleed. Willa wakes up screaming. She rushes home, where John almost shoots her by accident, mistaking her for an enemy. Relieved, he hugs her, but Willa hides the truth about Rosie. She notices that John's gun belonged to Kevin. He admits he had no choice but to take it. When Willa asks if all men are bad, John says no. Even women can become hybrids. It's just rarer. That night, Willa sneaks back to the cave with food for Rosie. They talk about the old world, flipping through a book of animals they've never seen. When Rosie cries, Willa comforts her with stories of Kodiak, the hero who fought the monsters. Before leaving, she gives Rosie her knitted hat. The next day, Willa trains again, now stronger than ever. But during a sparring match, John collapses. Willa helps him home and realizes he hasn't been eating, saving food for her. She argues they should fight instead of hiding. John, frustrated, reminds her he fought for 5 years, and Mary is still out there. To show trust, he hands her his old sword. The next morning, Willa sneaks out, but the cave is destroyed. Rosie is gone. A shadow moves in the darkness. It's Rosie, transformed into a horrifying hybrid. She attacks. Willa screams and runs, slipping on wet ground. Just as Rosie pounces, John appears and shoots, but the bullets don't work. He grabs his sword and fights hand to hand, finally stabbing Rosie through the skull. Willa breaks down crying. John comforts her, but warns that the hybrid's presence means the breakers are near. They pack up and flee toward the far side of the island. On the way, John tells her a story from before the war. How people ignored early attacks while he and Mary were newly married and expecting Willa. Suddenly, explosions boom in the distance. The breakers have arrived. They run, crossing a wooden bridge over a river. Willa makes it across, but John is attacked by another hybrid, Rosie's brother. Willa rushes back, decapitating it, but the body keeps moving until John crushes its head with his boot. They move on, exhausted, but John soon collapses again. Another hybrid, Rosie's father, emerges from the trees. Willa stands her ground. Remembering her training, she dodges the attack and slices through its skull, killing it. She helps John reach the shore, but he confesses he's been infected. Tears stream down Willa's face as he tells her, "You're a warrior, just like your mother. Don't stop fighting." He orders her to leave by boat. She tries to push it into the water, struggling with all her strength, but it barely moves. As John's eyes begin to bleed, Willa raises her sword, ready to defend him. At that moment, boats appear on the horizon. Mary and her soldiers have arrived. Breakers charge down from the hills. The family, Mary, John, and Willa, stand together, weapons drawn, ready for one last fight to protect what's left of humanity. The break may have shattered the world, but courage still burns in those who refuse to fall. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss more stories like this. Thanks for watching.